There's a hidden transaction happening inside your head right now. Every time you put off a critical decision, your brain collects a reward, and you pay the price. This isn't about laziness or bad habits. It's about an ancient survival system that's bankrupting your future, how your nervous system turns hesitation into a drug. Picture this. You're staring at your inbox. There's an email from a potential client asking for your proposal. You know exactly what to say. You've done this 100 times. But something stops you. You tell yourself you'll respond later when you have more time to think it through. 3 days pass. The client goes with someone else, and you're left wondering what the hell just happened. Here's what actually happened. Your brain just protected you from an imaginary threat. Researchers at Carnegie Mellon discovered something unsettling about decision-making under uncertainty. When your prefrontal cortex detects a task involving financial risk or social exposure, it triggers the same neural pathway that lights up when you're facing physical danger. Your brain doesn't differentiate between sending a bold proposal and confronting an actual threat. Both scenarios activate your freeze response. But here's where it gets darker. That moment when you close the email and feel relief. That's not just psychological, that's biochemical. Your brain releases a small hit of dopamine, the exact same reward chemical you get from scrolling social media or eating sugar. You're not avoiding work, you're chasing a high, and your nervous system is reinforcing this pattern every single time you delay. Only here's the detail almost nobody catches. The system wasn't designed for the modern world. For millions of years, hesitation kept humans alive. Waiting to act until you had perfect information meant you didn't get eaten by predators or poisoned by unknown plants. Delay was survival. Today, delay is extinction. The same mechanism that kept your ancestors breathing is now suffocating your career, your income, and your potential. Behavioral economist George Lowenstein studied this phenomenon in financial markets. He found that traders who delayed selling decisions during market downturns lost an average of 34% more than those who acted within the first hour of recognizing a problem. Not because they made bad calls, but because they made no calls at all. Inaction has a price tag, and it's calculated in missed exits, expired opportunities, and wealth that vanishes while you're gathering more data. And here's where everything shifts. Your brain doesn't procrastinate everything. You don't delay binge watching Netflix. You don't postpone checking your phone. You don't hesitate when ordering food. Procrastination is surgical. It targets exactly the activities that require courage, visibility, and risk of rejection. You're not broken. Your wiring is just catastrophically outdated for the world you're trying to win in. Why elite operators move fast while everyone else drowns in analysis. There's a declassified CIA document from 1987 that reads like a manual for entrepreneurship. It outlines a decision-making protocol called OODA loop: observe, orient, decide, act. Fighter pilot John Boyd developed it after studying dogfights where speed of decision determined who lived and who died. The insight? In high-stakes environments, the side that completes the loop faster wins. Not smarter, not stronger, faster. Now contrast that with corporate America. McKinsey analyzed 1,200 executives across Fortune 500 companies and uncovered something staggering. 72% of strategic decisions were delayed by what leaders called waiting for clarity. But when researchers dug deeper, they found that in 89% of those cases, enough data already existed to make an informed choice. The delay wasn't about information. It was about fear disguised as diligence. And the cost? Companies that acted decisively captured 40% more market share over 3 years compared to their careful competitors. But that's not even the most disturbing part. When these same executives were placed in crisis simulations, hostile takeovers, supply chain collapses, PR disasters, their decision time dropped to under 2 minutes. Suddenly, the paralysis vanished. The need for more analysis evaporated. Why? Because crisis activates a different part of your brain. It bypasses the overthinking loop and forces you into action mode. The capability was always there. What was missing was urgency or the perception of it. Ancient Spartan warriors trained for this exact state. They called it controlled aggression, the ability to act decisively without hesitation, not because they were reckless, but because they'd conditioned their minds to separate decision from doubt. In battle, 1 second delay meant death. So they drilled relentlessly until action became instinct. No second guessing, no internal debate, just execution. And this is where everything changes. In modern life, there's no immediate consequence for delay. You don't die when you postpone a decision. But your business does. Your reputation does. Your momentum does. The damage just accumulates quietly. In deals that go to competitors, in partnerships that fade, in ideas someone else executes first while you're still thinking it over. The most unsettling part? There's hard science behind this. Neuroscientists at MIT discovered that intensive decision-making burns up to 25% of your brain's glucose reserves. Your brain is literally trying to conserve energy by avoiding hard choices. Procrastination isn't a character flaw. It's metabolic efficiency, pointed in exactly the wrong direction for success. What hostage negotiators know about the cost of waiting? Chris Voss spent 2 decades as the FBI's lead hostage negotiator. He's talked armed criminals out of killing people, diffused international kidnapping crises, and saved lives in situations where one wrong word meant death. And he'll tell you something most people never realize. In negotiation, hesitation isn't neutral. It's a signal, and the other side reads it instantly. Voss describes a case where he had seconds to respond to a kidnapper's demand. Protocol said to stall, to buy time to analyze. But Voss recognized something crucial. Delay would be interpreted as weakness or deception. So he responded immediately, not with compliance, but with calibrated clarity. The hostage walked free. And Voss learned a principle that applies far beyond life or death situations. Speed of response shapes perception of power. Here's what's almost never discussed. In business negotiations, your response time isn't just logistical, it's psychological. Sales data from HubSpot analyzed over 15,000 B2B transactions and found that leads contacted within 5 minutes were 21 times more likely to convert than leads contacted after 30 minutes. 21 times. Not because the product changed, not because the need disappeared, but because the buyer's brain interpreted speed as commitment, confidence, and value. Only here's the part that almost nobody notices. You might be losing deals without ever knowing why. Every delayed email, every "let me think about it and get back to you," every follow-up that takes 3 days instead of 3 hours, all of it is programming the other person's subconscious to doubt you. Procrastination isn't just internal. It leaks. It broadcasts. It destroys trust before you realize you had it. Now think about this. World-class negotiators don't eliminate doubt. They act in spite of it. Reed Hastings at Netflix operates on a principle he calls informed captains. Empower people to make fast decisions with 70% of the information, not 100%. Why? Because waiting for perfect clarity means your competitors already moved. Netflix tests thousands of ideas annually while others are still evaluating timing. Drop the word execute in the comments if you've ever lost an opportunity because you waited too long. What deal? What partnership? What chance slipped away while you were considering your options? And if you want to master the mindset of people who move fast and win consistently, smash that like button and subscribe, because we're just getting started. The secret pattern connecting chess masters, hackers, and ancient experimenters. In the 1400s, alchemists spent lifetimes attempting to turn lead into gold. They failed spectacularly, but historians uncovered something fascinating. The most successful alchemists weren't the ones who waited for the perfect formula. They were the ones who tested hypotheses rapidly, documented failures, and adjusted their approach. They understood something modern society forgot. Rapid experimentation beats endless analysis. Fast forward to today. Ethical hackers, the cybersecurity specialists who break into systems to find vulnerabilities, operate on an identical philosophy. Test fast. Fail fast. Patch fast. They don't wait to understand 100% of a system before probing it. They attack, observe the response, adjust their strategy, and attack again. At hacking competitions like DEF CON, the difference between winners and losers isn't technical knowledge. it's iteration speed. Then there's Magnus Carlsen, the world chess champion. In interviews, he's revealed something counterintuitive. Most amateur players lose not because they make terrible moves. They lose because they overthink moves that don't matter. Carlsen trains his brain to distinguish critical decisions from trivial ones. And for trivial decisions, he moves in seconds. No hesitation, no drama, no overthinking. He saves his cognitive resources for the moments that actually determine the outcome. But here's the detail almost nobody catches. All of these examples, alchemists, hackers, chess masters, operate in high-risk environments. One wrong move can destroy years of work, but they don't freeze. They don't procrastinate. Why? Because they've developed something rare: emotional tolerance for error. They've separated making a wrong move from being a wrong person. And this opens a door few people dare to walk through. Your procrastination isn't about the task. It's about identity. You delay because deep down, you believe that failing at something important means you are a failure. So your brain protects you by doing nothing. It's emotional self-preservation disguised as, "I'm not ready yet." Stanford researchers studied this and gave it a name: perfectionism paralysis. And they found something brutal. People who demand perfection before acting are 4x more likely to procrastinate than those who accept imperfection as part of the process. The irony cuts deep. The more you want something to be perfect, the less likely you are to do it at all. Here's the most unsettling truth. While you're waiting for the perfect moment, someone with half your talent is acting, failing, learning, and winning. High performance doesn't belong to the smartest people. It belongs to those who move fast, adjust fast, and don't turn mistakes into emotional catastrophes. Comment momentum. If this video just rewired how you think about decision making, what's the one decision you're delaying right now? The one you already know you need to make? Hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because the gap between high performance and mediocrity isn't talent, it's action. This content is for educational and informational purposes based on publicly available scientific research. It does not replace professional guidance.